Good morning, boys and girls. Sorry, I'm trying to eat. I'm tired. I am tired. Now, I have a few updates, and I know y'all gonna be like, oh no. I went to see my apartment today, and I have to downsize more than I thought. More than I thought. So, it is okay. It is definitely okay. But I saw the apartment and everything, and I have a list, which is great because now I know what washer and dryer I have to buy, which is not a priority at all. It is what it is. So there goes that. So I am so freaking happy, boys and girls. So happy. My friend took me, and let me tell you what happened. I was up, I think about four something. Eventually, I laid down at about five. I said, let me get some rest. So I laid down around five, and next thing I know, the phone rang, and I'm like, "Hello, I'm in the front," and I'm like, "Oh, already?" So it was. We got there early to where maybe about 40 minutes early. So as soon as 9 o'clock hit, I was at the door, and the lady said, "What happened to you yesterday?" Oh my, I heard. I'm like, and I told her, but it was such a beautiful ride this morning. My friend went in, and the lady asked if I wanted another tour, to see everything, and I said yeah, because I didn't really get to see where the garbage goes. Now, let me tell y'all something. I am beyond grateful. But I'm used to walking out my kitchen door and dropping my garbage. I have to legit come from my front door and go down and around and around. So I'm like, okay, let me get my wagon that's gonna carry my garbage. Oh my goodness, it was so funny. It was so funny. And then this box is different. The one that you open and you drop in because you have to push, like if you're throwing away glass or like that. But kid you not, when we went to the garage to see where to park at, I still couldn't get out the door into the garage. And she was like, "Come on." So I was like, "It's okay." So I'm hoping that I can park in front of the building. So what I need to do between now and the first is really try to get these tickets paid off so I can park in front of the building. I don't see anywhere that you need a parking cost or anything like that. So I want to park in front of the building to alleviate from me having to go to that garage. But it is what it is because it looks like something on Lifetime Movie Network. Ha! It's nice. It's nice, but it's a little dark. So I'm like, and I'm not there yet. So I was the same way when I got into this garage. Yeah, when I first got into this garage, I used to cry coming from the door to the car because I was like, somebody, you know. So it is what it is. But my friend went in and I asked her to take a video. Wait a minute. Maybe I can. Well, I'm gonna see if we can upload the video so you can see the video. I asked her could she do a video for me, so I had the camera. I don't know what's happened after that, but I'm loving my closet, boys and girls. I am loving my closet. I got a better look today than I did before because I wasn't feeling, so well. I'm loving my closet because I have a long enough space to hang up all of my dresses that I just took down from this closet that I barely even got to wear. So I really like that. And then to know that I can get a washer and I don't have to get the dryer at the same time, just as long as it's the unit that's approved with. So I can, just get one for right now and continue to do what I've been doing to hang it up. The other thing that makes me happy is that when I found out that the electricity was included, the woman said that it's a budget, and if you go over, this woman said no, they have never issued anyone a bill. She said it's a lock on the amount of heat you can use and a lock on the amount of, so that is so much better because I'm almost sure it's not going to be freezing, and I'm almost sure in the wintertime it's not going to be hot. They just making sure you don't abuse it, and of course I'm not going to abuse her. So that was a beautiful thing. But Boys and girls, when I tell you, we were this the unit is much smaller than this. Everything that I wanted, because I kid you not, having pain in your feet and stuff like that. One of the things that got me kind of discouraged over the years that I was trying to move is when people would say to me, "How could you give up this?" You know, and not realizing what I had to sacrifice keeping this. And then when my neighbor took me, she waited in the car, and then I went outside, and I said, like this to call her in, and then she came, and when she saw the unit, she was like, I like that. And now she's leaving too. She's like, mm-mm, she's leaving. She was like, the gym and all. I'm like, yes. But I wish I wasn't taking my rowing ride. I really wish I wasn't taking my rowing ride. But I already looked into each of the machines there, and if I cannot make it to the gym for some reason, I would like to have my rowing ride, since my rowing ride has already shown changes. So I'm going to take my rowing ride. I'm definitely going to take my couch, my sort of wall for my couch. My the lady said your bed is going in the living room. I said, yeah, girl. I said, you don't know. I like to live close to the front door. I'm not sleeping in the bedroom. So she said, I never heard. And then my friend told her, she said, no, she slept in the living room for years. And this right here was the longest I've slept in this room, and it's been a year. But I don't want to. I want to be right by my front door. And I told her, I said, I suffer, greatly with anxiety, and I prefer to be where my front door is. And she says she understands. But what was so nice is that she was really understanding. And she said, anything you have a problem with, ask me. And I told her thank you, because there are times when you don't want to ask for help. And she said it's better to ask for help. And then I finished the statement, and it cost somebody, especially the building. So it is what it is. I had a beautiful time, and the funny thing is when you come out of my building and you turn, you just go about, I would say, let's say 12 minutes, and there goes Old Navy that I haven't seen in a million years. So I don't know if I'm gonna go window shopping, but I'm going in Old Navy. Um, Walmart was right there, but not super Walmart. But I don't think I need to be really going in Walmart, because when I went through the food and stuff like that in Walmart, I realized that a lot of what they have I actually don't want. And then because I was in a mode of not wanting to cook and stuff like that, I said, you know what? Even though I'm trying not to get it, I'm going to get it, so I can lay down and have a snack and chips or whatever the case may be. But I realized now that if you're living a certain type of way, Walmart is not your preferred place to shop. But one thing I am happy about is that there is access to Walmart garbage bags if I chose and stuff like that. But when I went in Walmart, if I'm not mistaken, I can see those new tags that they're talking about with the AI, where they change the price and you don't know about it. They did that in that Walmart. But what I did notice is that something that I was able to get for like $2 and change in that Walmart was $3 and some change. I noticed that a few things I can get in Aldi were more expensive in Walmart. Now I did already check, and Aldi is said to be closer to my home than Walmart, so about by a few minutes. So I would like to know where Aldi is, because that's where I'm going. I want the tomatoes and all that other stuff. Not necessarily tomatoes, but peppers and things like that. I am so freaking happy. So the lady was like, "Do you have any questions for me?" I said, "I understand. I have to wait, and for the final okay and stuff." I said, "But I don't want to be stuck where I don't have access to changing my address, giving them time to send that paper." She said, "Miss, It is already approved. It is you can change your address today. She said, I said, so I have there's no action that can turn. She said, no, it's already. But I kid you not, I am so thankful. I'm so thankful. I'm going to say, um, there are times that there are units that people apply for and get denied. And I got denied and denied and denied. And this unit, due to the amenities and everything, I couldn't believe that I was able to get. I thank God for Shay's Creations. I kid you not. I am so thankful that I have enough wherewithal to know to try. I really do, because when I was there and I was speaking, and I come on now, I'm not gonna play in the sandbox, but I know Jimmy Jackass when I see it. And there were times that I was unable to get a unit that I should have been able to get a unit. And when I was able to get a unit and they wanted me to get rid of Shay's Creations, but I am so thankful because they got all of the details, and I can actually walk in knowing that I don't have to hide, and creep and try to go around corners. The only thing they made it clear is everything is under Shay's Creations, and that's it. Which means if Wayfair sends me something, I review and I turn around and sell it. Write down how much I sold it for. Write down, because everything is Shay's Creations. And guess what? I am thankful, but only one downfall. Now, just say I get a item that I have to put together and review, and then I can sell it. The box has to go from my unit down, around, and way across the parking lot. So now I'm sitting here saying to myself, okay, maybe I won't be doing that. Because I want to be going to the garage. It's going to be a while. Mm, 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 mm. Oh my goodness, I am so happy with this. But just about everything is going. Mm, 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 mm. In this room, I have my dresser and my TV. In there, I'm going to have my bed, my dresser, and my TV. That's it. Maybe a little stool or something at the foot, but like a little storage, but nothing more. A little bit from my bed, I'm going to have my couch, my little colorful little drawer thing, and my TV. Yeah, I'm having two TVs in the living room, because I'm going to have one when I'm in my bed, and then I'm going to have one for when I'm on my couch. I watched enough videos to see that if I was laying on my bed and I wanted to watch TV, I would have to have my bed and my sofa on the same wall to come this way. I don't want to do that because I want to give access to the window. So laying in my bed, TV, sitting on my couch, TV. But I don't necessarily want a TV in my craft room. So there goes that. So there goes that. Then my greeting card thing is not coming. I don't have anywhere for that to go. Absolutely not. This computer desk is not going. I have nowhere for that. The room, the craft room will hold. No. I need that table. I need a table. That table and the other table are going to hold the big panel tape on top in the center of the room. That way I'll have a chair on this side for my beading and a chair on that side for my card making. So I'm going to have to split the one table, but it's large enough. Someone had said to split it. I'm going to have to split it one half for this and one half for that. But I have enough walls for my cabinet, the white cabinet, and a few of my shelves to go down. I can take my shoe boxes and do my, and I have enough wall for my Shay's Creations banner. Absolutely. So I can do that. Where am I put my printer? I don't know. But I have a stool where my my flowers are. I could put that stool somewhere, like in the closet, since it's wireless, and I could put my printer there. I have everything mapped out, but mostly everything is going. Absolutely, mostly everything is going. I I can change my address today on the United States Postal Service.com, but the reason why I can't is because you have to pay, I think, like $2 or something like that. And I'm like, oh my goodness. But I asked the mail lady if she had changed the address for me. She said no. But I want to change my address because there's a letter that comes in the mail to confirm. Sometimes it takes like 7-8 days. I want that letter in my hand. I will not be ordering any packages to this address. I haven't ordered a package to this address in a while. I did get one roll of tape from Walmart. So there goes that. I do have these plastic, these like this white table thing. I have one here and one there. I'm gonna take one for my TV, but the other one I don't have anywhere to put it. But as I'm speaking now, I'm thinking I can put it in my closet and have some stuff in my closet. But I am so freaking happy. My effective move-in date is May 1st, and I 9 times out of 10 will be moving some things in before the first. But the route that my friend took to get there, I believe I can manage that road getting there. So that's good. But honey, that is a beautiful ride. Beautiful ride though. It is beautiful. Mm. Oh my goodness. I love it. I was in Walmart and the people are so kind, so nice, so friendly. I really like it. And I know it sounds strange for me to say that, but I am so happy. I'm so happy. When I said to my friend, I said, now tell me the truth. What do you think about the unit? She said, I love it. I said, even with as small as it is? She said, who the hell needs things? And I'm like, thank you, Lord, because I knew one thing without a shadow of a doubt. I don't know what is on my nose. It's itching. Oh, the hot sauce. Um, I was not paying for storage. I wasn't. It was a matter of it's coming or it's not coming, and that's it. But what I did not look at was the walls. I didn't look at the walls. I could have sworn the walls were there was some texture or something. I still didn't look at the walls. Mm. Mm. And I don't know how to hang a mirror without nailing the wall. I don't want to nail anything on the wall. I don't mind thumbtacks on a light picture or something like that, but I would like to do very little, um, you know. So I'm trying to think, but I just got a mirror this month right over my couch. I really like it because I'm actually going to take my vines, and my vines are going to most likely go over my bed, and my lights are going to go over my bed. Oh, it's going to be nice. It's going to be nice. Mm. My bathroom has a shelf for all of my towels. You don't need no lot of towels. I don't believe in having a whole bunch of sheets, a whole bunch of towels. Not me. So I'm gonna most likely put some like little boards or whatever to make, because if I'm not sure if it's flat or if it's one of them type of shelves where your stuff can fall down. But if it's like wire, I'm gonna put some little planks of wood inside of there so I can make my nice little selection. And being that I don't really have company like that, I may be able to put things there that I would not put things there. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Mm, I am so thankful. I'm just too tired right now to stand at the stove and cook. I'm so thankful for these leftovers. But I picked up some chicken in a can from Walmart. I really want to go to Aldi, but I have to focus on getting this crap out of here. That's it. And it's the 8th already. I just need to get it out. That's it. So it is what it is. It is what it is. I'm so thankful. I said to this lady when I was walking in the building, I said, Miss, you have a bathroom in here? She said, no. And I'm looking, and I said, thank you. Have a nice day. And then the little Spanish lady came in, and she was holding the door, and um, she said, good morning. And I said, good morning. And then she was saying something else to me, and I couldn't pick out what she was saying to me. And then when I realized she was saying to me that the office was closed and to come in and sit down, so I walked in and I said I was going to wait outside in the car. And she said, okay. Then I asked her, does she live there? And she said, yes. I said, well, I'm your new neighbor. And that made me feel so happy. You know why? Because the difference in whatever was so clear when it comes to kindness. I kid you not. I swear to God. Uh, I'm not saying that everyone's perfect. I'm not saying anyone's flawed. I'm just saying that it was so different. How when I said, it's their bathroom and no. Mm, 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 mm. But I said to my friend, she said, where's the parking meter? I said, there's no parking meter. I haven't seen a parking meter here yet. No. I said, look, there's no parking meter. Park your car. Ow! Mm. Just about everywhere you go over here, there's a parking meter. I haven't seen a parking meter there yet. I was like, wow. And I cannot still, because it's still the same town. Ah, wow. Mm-mm-mm. And you know what's so funny? I could have left if my insurance wasn't cheaper there than it is here, and I left my insurance here, I could have probably parked on the street. It would have took them a while to find my car. I just can't do stuff like that. I can't do stuff like that. My best bet is just to knock off a ticket, knock off a ticket, knock off a ticket. So it is what it is. But I'm down to 378, and I cannot wait. But guess what? They increased both of the tickets again by a little bit. And one ticket was 75, and it increased to 200 and something. But I had no idea. It was so many tickets, and then I was just, what little I could. And then after a while, I thought that was it. And then a couple months ago, this pop up with this thing talking about they're trying to take my vehicle. I'm like, oh my goodness. Mm. But mm, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. So what I'm gonna do today is list my washing machine on the marketplace, and try to knock that out. And I'm going to most first I have to wait for a neighbor to come in. My neighbor wanted to look around, and I have another neighbor that wanted to look around, and then um, another neighbor. But after that, but most likely I can get all three in here today because I need to get it out of here. I don't want it stuck in here because I want to do whatever I can do to, pick up. And the one thing I'm doing the best I can is pick up off the floor, because if I had to leave a chair in here that someone could use or a table in here that someone could use, I would rather that than a corner full of trash that someone has to legit pick up. Mm-mm. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. So I don't want to do it. But I'm gonna tell you what happened to me in Walmart today. I went in Walmart. My stuff came to like 46, 48, whatever the case may be. And then the lady took my $10 bill for my roller tape, and she went over to her register because the lady who was cashing me out, when my groceries was paid for in the shopping cart and I was leaving, she said, "You want this too?" I said, "You didn't ring that? If you already moved it." And then she said, "I don't know how." So I said, "Okay." And I went, but I couldn't help her. I'm not the cashier. And then people were getting frustrated, but they weren't saying anything. Kindness is king, honey. But the line was getting longer, so I said, "Just leave the tape and give me back the $10 bill." She said, "Okay." But then another woman came over and asked if there was a problem. And I said, "I'm trying to get this roll of tape and she doesn't know how to ring it." I said, "But I have $11 on this card. I would like to use that." I said, "That's why and I could take back that $10, or you could take back the 10 and just void out no tape. I'll get tape elsewhere." So she said, "Well, let me take the $5 and the tape to my register." And the lady turned around and rang the $11 on my card for 2 rolls of tape or whatever on her end. She ended up pulling out the receipt, and she ended up giving me the receipt. The other lady gave me the receipt. So I'm looking at the lady and I said, "Excuse me, how much was the tape?" And then she said, $5.97. So then I'm looking at the receipt and I said, "She just scanned me $11. You just scanned in 10." So then she's looking and she's trying to finagle and tell me, but you know what I did? I said, I realized that the woman was new, she was in training, and I realized the gift of kindness that my neighbor bestowed on me to bring me that far. So I said, "May I have my receipt, please?" And she said, "Yeah." And at this time, people were looking at me. I said, "Thank you so much." I said, "I have a friend waiting for me, and I just want to make sure I can get through that door without it ringing as if I didn't pay for my goods." And then she was looking at me, and I said, "Thank you very much." And then when I got into the car, I said to my friend, I said, "I'm not sure, but just check my receipt for me." And then my friend looked at it and she said, "Did you get this?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I said, and I showed her. She said, "That woman owe you money. You want me to go in there and get your?" I said, "No, I don't. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going crazy because I get a little discombobulated in the head sometimes." She was like, "No, you don't have no money." And I said, "No, I'm good. Let's go." And I was thankful because whatever I did not get, I wouldn't have been able to get there without my neighbor. So in life, you have to say, "Okay, I'm grateful." And when you're grateful, you have to show kindness. So when I was going home, I was thinking, "Oh Lord, I really couldn't afford to lose that." But then you have to remind yourself that you can't really focus on stuff like that because then you block your blessings. So I was riding home, but in my mind, I'm like, "I'm rich, I'm rich, I'm rich," just trying to put it out there in the universe. And I'm like, "I'm rich." And then when I came home, I said, "I'll just, you know, try it and see." And then whatever happens, happens. But I have to find out which Wi-Fi company. I was told it's Optimum, so hopefully Optimum is a decent piece of whatever. But a part of me feel like I'm not even getting Wi-Fi, But I have to have Wi-Fi because they say you have to have a phone. Everything goes through email and all this other stuff through wireless on your phone. I'm sick of wireless. Mm. But the beautiful thing is, I'm in. I read some of your comments, but I cannot believe the fear that I overcame. I was so blessed this morning walking to Walmart. I felt so much relief. But You definitely need a car there. There is no if, ands, or maybes about that. But I could actually go to the shopping center and just walk around, just walk around and stuff like that. My friend, we got back to Mount Vernon, and then she said, "Do you need to go into the Dollar Tree?" I'm like, "No, your time is no, my time. You no, I'm gonna go home. You have some. I swear how blessed it is to be in the company of someone like that that reminds me of me. But it is what it is. I'm going to end my video now. I'm going to brush my teeth because when I have juice, meat, and stuff like that, it feels like I had too much to to enjoy, and then I had some crackers and so, and then I want to put this information in the computer. If I can get one of these washing machines on Temu, my cash back is gonna be nice. I'm really gonna look on here, but in the group, a few people told me to stay away from LG washers. So I know to stay away from LG, but I have GE, Electrolux, or Bosch, those three. One of them is $1,125. The other one is $1,425. The rest of them, I don't see a price. I don't see a price. So I don't know. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.